Hi all, Hipper here. Today we're taking out the Tashkent and let's just look at the setup here with the double rudder and of course the reload modification like I always use. Because as I've said before, I play this destroyer here as a very small cruiser. And I have 3 smokes and 3 speed boosts and a 1.4 rudder and nearly 46 knots, which is very good. And that's because I am using Makarov here. He's actually a cruiser commander, but I have Rumble on as an inspiration for more range, and then I have Baltimore for better rudder. And then I have Ingenious as well. Works really well on Tashkent, by the way. Very, very nice. And everything else is rudder and speed and fully packed, which is what gives me my extra smoke. Which is always handy, especially if you're facing lots of battleships. Not so much in this battle here, because this is one of my favorite battles here, where it's 5 versus 5, and I love that. As you can tell, there's 3 versus 3 destroyers, so obviously this is a perfect game for my Tashkent and my Tashkent setup, because there's nothing better than taking this tiny little cruiser here out and hunting destroyers. Now, I think the reason most people don't like this destroyer as an actual anti-destroyer ship is, well, basically that they play it as a destroyer and playing the whole concealment game, and there's no point in that. You're going to lose that game anyway in Tashkent, so I recommend you do like what I do and play it as a small cruiser instead. I think that works much better. Now, if you watched my latest video with Hipper, you know that I'm a big fan of these 5 versus 5 battles here, and it's primarily because there's less ships, it's more intense, and that means mistakes are punished a lot more, because you are usually facing ships 1 versus 1, not 1 versus 3 or anything like that. So it's down to like the individual skills of players in coming out on top. And I like that. It's a bit like, kind of like Arena, I guess, but I still prefer this, especially because it's at tier 7. So I'm having a pretty easy time here because I am the first inside the cap, and that usually means in small destroyer games like this that you're going to scare off the other destroyer in case they were thinking of capping, because they know that there's already a destroyer in there, and they're very likely to face it if they enter the cap. And most destroyer players are simply too careful to do that, and that means that in Tashkent with the 46 knots you can usually get a very easy cap in the beginning if you just play a little bit smart like I did there and hide behind a rock. So obviously the other destroyers are over here at sea because they've both smoked up, and that means we'll head over here and flex our mini cruiser muscles. So if you notice, my destroyer over here at sea, he did exactly what I said before. As soon as someone else gets into the cap first, he turns away and waits for a better opportunity to cap. And of course that gives me a perfect opportunity to just storm in here and play the ship as a cruiser, not the destroyer. Don't play the concealment game because you'll lose that. Get in there, make them panic, and take them out, like I'm doing here. It's all about getting close, and because you don't have a sonar, you need to get into the range of guaranteed acquisition, which I am now within 2 kilometers, and that makes it quite easy to take these other destroyers out, especially these Japanese ones here. They are quite squishy. So the last destroyer left is a German, and he's more of a mouthful. Well, actually there's another Kagero left over here, but my destroyer actually did a very good number on him. So all I have to do is just steal the kill basically. But after this guy, the other Kagero here is gone, there's a German left, the Z-23, which is more the threat actually. So again, I use my speed to deny him the distance that he needs, and that's basically all you have to do in Tashkent. It's a great ship, and that's why I spec so much into speed and rudder, because with this build here, that's all you have. Of course, you also have smoke when things go really, really south. But I usually use the smoke for farming battleships. I don't really use it for capping much. And obviously in this game here, there's no battleships left now, so it's not going to be a high damage game. But we already got 2 solo caps and 2 kills, so it's turning out well. So, like I expected, the destroyer from B, he has now entered the cap and is hoping to take it while I am busy over here. So of course we can't have that, so we'll use our 46 knots to get back to B and take this guy on. I love to be able to reposition like this, like lightning fast like this, because I started at B and I've taken B, I've taken C, and now I'm heading back to B, all within the the first 5 minutes of the game. Yeah, speed is wonderful in this game. It is both armor and it allows you to also reposition like this, and it's great. It's great. I love it. So obviously he's hiding behind the cliff here. So I'm just guessing here, but there's really nowhere else he can be. It's unlikely that he'd crossed to the other side of the map and started capping from where we spawned. So I am quite sure he's around here somewhere. So again, don't care about concealment because I will be spotted first. But going the speed of Tashkent, it'll only be a few seconds before you'll spot the other destroyer no matter what. And really only a good torpedo salvo can end your adventure. But this guy just fired his torps, so we're just going to chase him down. And we are much, much faster than him. So it's not really much of a problem. So you got to save your damage con, by the way, for when your engine or your rudder gets taken out. Because obviously Makarov doesn't have that skill, so just keep that in mind. And it doesn't happen very often, but it does happen in Tashkent. So only use the Damacon to fix your engine primarily. So that's the Z39, sorry, not a Z23, I was mistaken there. But yeah, same thing, pretty much. So 3 destroyers out of the way here, and we'll start capping B so we don't lose on points, because we're actually behind on points now, which is a bit surprising. So now we gotta dissuade this Alabama here from actually capping, because that's what he's about to do. And obviously there's nothing better than using a smoke for that, because we can just sit over here and set him on fire. And if he still enters the cap, Tashkent has a bunch of torpedoes to fire at him. And I'm lucky I asked the other destroyer to spot for me, and he did that. So this is like a perfect example of random cooperation here. And if you're watching this video, well, friendly destroyer guy, thank you very much for that. Not many players would have actually done that. So because I have more range than he does, and I can sit in my smoke and shoot, and he's just spotting for me. Pretty much exactly like you play a cruiser. And taken very lucky hit there, but that's fine. Tashkent is sturdy, so we don't really care much about that. So we're letting the other destroyer cap while I keep the battleship at bay. And like I said, perfect teamwork, and I really wish these things here would happen a lot more often than they do in the game. And I misspoke earlier when I said there was no battleships left, because of course there's the Alabama left. I was looking at my own team, I think. So anyway, the Alabama is gone, and I'm still safe within my concealment now, so I'm just going to help him get the last few seconds here on the cap. And then it's just a matter of pretty much, well, waiting for the time to run out, because we are ahead now, and there's 2 destroyers here on my team, and the Reds don't have any destroyers left. So even I can now out-conceal everybody else on the enemy team. And the cruiser is a Wichita, so that's a bit of a worry, of course, because he does have a radar, but not for Tashkent, because I don't care about my concealment. As you can see, minus 7.3. It's nearly cruiser concealment. And if he radars me, that doesn't matter. I don't care about it at all. because I rely on my speed and agility and my 8-kilometer torps, of course, fast firing guns, and if everything goes bad, I'll use my smoke. That's also why I break my concealment here, because I want to see if I can't take this guy out here, because he is a threat to the other destroyer, of course, that relies on concealment. But for me, it's not really an issue. See, I lose my torpedoes, but obviously I don't use my Demicon for that, but I use it for my rudder. Very important. Like I said before, that is your lifeline there, so save it for that. Just miss out on the kill on the Wichita there, and fair enough. We'll have some for everyone here. And now the Alabama is alone, and he knows that, well, you have to cap, otherwise you will lose this battle here. So yeah, not a situation I would like to find myself in a battleship versus 2 destroyers like this, behind on points and pretty much forced to just sacrifice himself. Of course, he could flee to the end of the map, but the result will be the same. So again, the torpedo-focused destroyer is spotting for me, so I can shoot at this battleship here with impunity, and he can fire his torps at it as well. And again, this is just great teamwork. I love when this happens. Each player playing their ships to their fullest strength, and not doing anything like overly rash or just plain stupid, I guess. Unfortunately, some of the torps miss here, so we are just taking a little bit longer getting this guy off the map, but we'll get there. And like I said before, this battleship player here, he is stuck between a rock and a hard place. I mean, he has no choice than to try to cap. And he'll probably die doing it, but he will most certainly lose if he doesn't at least try to do something. And again, this guy is also playing like very nicely and a challenging way. I mean, most players would just pretty much flee to the end of the map, and this battle would be just the 2 of us destroyers here waiting for the points to tick up to 1,000. But at least this guy here is actually making an effort and trying to take us out, and I applaud him for that, and I really think well, more players should do that. I mean, this is a certain loss for this guy anyway, and he might as well try to get a few more XP points in, because he'll definitely get more of that trying to cap than running to the edge of the map. For some reason, all my torps miss there. Can't believe that, but we'll get some more XP in as well, just resetting his attempts at capping. So yeah, it's a bit of a good for all parties. And of course the other destroyers' torps hit. It's like, of course. But anyway, get a fire going on him there, and that's pretty much his death sentence. And then here the friendly DD just obviously steals the kill there, but whatever, like I said before, we'll share. So that was Tashkent here, and in a perfect battle for this ship with this build here. And I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you out there.